Yes, we are live. Okay. Online journey कभी on होगी. So, among us, those who are looking forward or they have anyone who is joining online, that the link is also active now, and we are going live now on YouTube. So, this is just to have one of the things shared. That is, yesterday we had one of the keynote speaker, Dr. Pejy Blond from European Space Agency. He couldn't have his live talk to us due to his son not keeping well, but he has given us a video that would be getting played now. He is one of the scientists who is basically working with the space law with European agency, as well as he is an faculty head from Birmingham University, England. So he has sent us a video which will be played now, which talks about the importance of space law policies across world. So I request my team to further go ahead with that. Once that is getting played, then we start with the day of today. Thank you.
Good day, everybody. My name is PJ Blunt. I'm sorry I can't be live today. Unfortunately, it's flu season here in Europe, and so I will be taking young children to the doctor all day today. But I did want to make sure that I recorded my address to you, and so without further ado, allow me to share my screen here. And so, what I'll be talking about today is international space law. And my position is that I'm an assistant professor of space law at the Space Research Center at Durham University in the United Kingdom. Um, how I would usually start this particular lecture is asking you what this is. What is this particular thing a drawing of? And usually, when somebody thinks that they're hearing space law, they would say, well, that's a rocket. And I might say, well, maybe it's not. Maybe it's a missile. And it really depends between those two what you put at the top of it. Do you have a payload up there? Do you have a spacecraft up there? Or instead, do you have a warhead up there? And that's a big difference. And I think this is a really important thing to contemplate because as we talk about space law, it's the dynamic as to whether or not this is a rocket or this is a missile that becomes one of the driving factors in the early development of space law. And what I'm going to talk about today is one, the origins of space law, where we get international space law from. But I'm not going to give the full overview of that because then I want to drive down to a specific issue that we can see that established itself at the beginning of space law, but is now something that we are currently talking about and trying to figure out and understand. So whether or not this is a rocket or a missile is important, and here's why. This man is named Vannevar Bush. Vannevar Bush was in charge of military technology in the United States during World War II. In 1949, post World War II, he wrote a book called Modern Arms and Free Men. And in that book, he essentially says, we don't have to be very worried about nuclear weapons because right now, nuclear bombardment happens via planes. It's an aerial phenomenon. And we have modern defenses. We have radar. We have an air force. We don't really need to worry about a foreign enemy penetrating our territory with nuclear weapons. We have the ability to defend against that. Well, that was great in 1949, but in 1957 along came Sputnik. As I'm sure most of you know, Sputnik is the first human-made spacecraft launched into space. Um, And I'm going to talk about Sputnik for a moment here because I think Sputnik is a really important turning point, right? And there are two things that we get out of Sputnik. The first is this question of, well, sorry, there are two narratives around Sputnik. One is that the Soviets had beat the United States, that they'd won the space race. And this is true, right? And this gave the Americans a great deal of pause. But the other thing that we get is that it showed the Americans that the Soviets suddenly had the capability to launch a nuclear weapon via a rocket. And this was a cause for essentially an existential crisis in the United States. How do we deal with the fact that there is now the potentiality of an intercontinental ballistic missile? So basically, what Sputnik showed is that the Soviets now had this, and this being both a rocket as well as a missile. So what we get out of Sputnik is really the emergence of space law itself. Now, I'm going to talk here about what happened in the United States in the immediate aftermath of this. There are lots of ways to look at this, but I think that when I make the claim that Sputnik gave us our first vestiges of space law, that we can actually see this in the things that were being said immediately after its launch. So this meeting occurred on October 9th, 1957. This is 4 days after the launch of Sputnik. This is in the White House. It is a conference with President Eisenhower, and in attendance is Secretary of Defense Quarles, who is essentially who makes this memo. Now, we get two interesting things out of this meeting. The first is this notion. Secretary Quarles tells the president, well, the Russians have in fact done us a good turn unintentionally in establishing the concept of free international space. This seems to be generally accepted as orbital space in which the missile is making an inoffensive passage. And so what Quarles is saying here is they did us a good turn because they've now established that you can pass over another state in space. And this is important because you can't fly over another state's airspace without their permission. And at this moment, the United States desperately wanted to know what was happening inside the Soviet Union. They wanted to know how many nuclear weapons the Soviets had. They wanted to understand what their defense system looked like, but they couldn't get into the Soviet Union to find out. The best that they had was the U-2 spy plane, which was overflying and would be shot down several years later, leading to the inability of the United States to use that craft over the Soviet Union. But what happened here with Sputnik is this notion that they have established the concept of freedom of international space. And this gives the United States the ability to develop remote sensing that can now look down into the Soviet Union and make determinations about their armaments. And this would be extraordinarily important as we move forward because this is going to underpin the disarmament talks that happen between the United States and the Soviet Union. The other thing that we get is this question of whether or not the United States could have beat the Soviets. And Quarles essentially said, yes, that we could have. That essentially Werner von Braun down in Redstone could have beat the Soviets. He could have put something in space, but because he was Army, they didn't let him do it. They wanted to make sure that the first United States launch was not part of the military, that it was peaceful in character. And this underpins a notion that we have in space, that space is for peaceful purposes. We shouldn't be using it for war. Now, we should know that this has been interpreted to mean that the military can use space. And we're currently looking at an era where we are using the space in more and more militaristic ways. Nevertheless, there is this notion at the heart of space law that space is for peaceful purposes. That doesn't get rid of your ability to defend yourself. Now, what we get out of the launch of Sputnik is this existential moment, but we also had a very interesting opening. What the Soviets showed was that they had a really high throw weight. What they were launching into space at the beginning of the space age was much bigger than what the Americans were putting into space. But the Soviets had also not miniaturized their nuclear weapon. The US, on the other hand, had a miniaturized nuclear weapon, but they had a very small throw weight. And this gap in capabilities actually allowed these two states to come together and to be able to talk about what sorts of legal principles they might be able to adopt for space. And this led to the Resolution 1962, which was actually adopted in 1963, which is a declaration of legal principles governing the activity of states in the exploration and use of outer space. And these principles, though a General Assembly resolution and therefore not binding on the states, would actually go on and feed the adoption of the Outer Space Treaty. So Sputnik launches in 1957. This is a photograph from 1968 of the Soviet Union, the United Kingdom, I think it's the Soviets, the United Kingdom, and the US signing the Outer Space Treaty. And this is a watershed moment here. And also very quick. I think it's worth noting that usually treaties aren't negotiated this quickly. And though work had been being done on the legal principles, it wasn't until 1966 that they even decided to begin to negotiate this treaty. So it was extraordinarily fast. Now, the Outer Space Treaty adopts numerous principles, right? This notion of non-appropriation of space, which is what we're going to talk about in depth. The idea that space exploration should be in accordance with international law. The fundamental concept of international cooperation in the use and exploration of outer space. One of the critical things that the Outer Space Treaty does is that it requires states to not place weapons of mass destruction in space. And when we mean placed in space, we mean in orbit around the Earth. And it also demilitarized the moon and other celestial bodies. It adopted the notion of international responsibility for non-governmental actors, and this is an extraordinary thing in international law. We do not see that in other treaties. It adopted a regime of international liability for space activities. Again, this is fairly extraordinary in international law. You don't usually see treaties on liability. International cooperation. I put it in there twice, and I put it in there twice because it's actually in the treaty more than any other phrase. You will find, I believe, international cooperation referenced 7 times in the treaty. It's more than anything else. Notions of registering your spacecraft with the UN and maintaining jurisdiction over your spacecraft are there. The rescue of astronauts and the return of spacecraft is in there. And much of the treaty is actually concerned with information sharing. The Outer Space Treaty is a security treaty. It's intended to keep the states that are using space from coming into conflict there. And so international cooperation and information sharing, though very weak obligations, are intended to keep those states talking to each other so that they can avoid having conflicts in space. So these are the main principles of the Outer Space Treaty. Now, the treaty regime itself would be expanded. There would be a rescue and return agreement, which would expand on the notion of rescuing astronauts and returning spacecraft. There'd be the Liability Convention, which expands on that notion of liability for space activities. And then there's the Registration Agreement, which expands on the idea that you are supposed to register your spacecraft and establishes a UN registration body. And then there's the Moon Agreement, which was passed in 1979, which sought to adopt a legal regime for the moon and other celestial bodies. The United States, though, decided not to sign this treaty, which caused the USSR not to sign this treaty. And currently, it has a very low number of states parties, I think 15. And it might lose more. So Saudi Arabia actually left the Moon Agreement recently. And so there's potential that more might leave. So the Moon Agreement isn't one that we say is actually really enforced. It's often referred to as a failed treaty. So what I want to do is, rather than go through each and every provision of the Outer Space Treaty, I thought that I would focus on one and kind of show you a case study about how we think about the law and how the law has been adapting to new and different uses of outer space. And so I would pose the question to you, well, who owns the moon? And the first place that we stop to answer that question is, well, the Outer Space Treaty in Article 2. Article 2 states that outer space, including the moon and other celestial bodies, is not subject to national appropriation by claim of sovereignty, by means of use or occupation, or by any other means. Now, what I think is really interesting here, and I think that what is worth thinking about, is what's going on in Article 2. And I would suggest to you that what we have is a real concern here for the way that international geography is going to be changed by the space environment. In 1945, the UN Charter was adopted, and it essentially said, well, look, everywhere on Earth, all the territory will be states, and those states will have hard borders, and this is going to be the system that we use to keep states, we keep places from going to war, right? Because pre 1945, the biggest reason to go to war was to go and claim somebody else's territory. So 1945, the UN Charter attempts to stop that. Well, then space opens up. Well, what are we going to do about that? Well, that's where we get Article 2. Now, Article 2 gives us a fundamental problem. It's the notion of territory and property, and then this notion of real property and chattel property. Territory is what states have, right? States have territory. People and companies or corporations have property, right? But they're closely linked, right? When you own property in most common law systems, you need to register that ownership with the state. So the last time that I owned real property, I bought it in the United States and I had to go to the courthouse, and a government official noted that that piece of property had changed hands from the seller to the buyer, who was myself. So property is different from territory, but it's very connected to it. We also have this notion of real property versus chattel property. Real property is the ground beneath your feet, right? When you buy a plot of land, you own real property. Chattel property are things like my cell phone, or maybe like a rock that you pick up off a piece of property. And these are different types of properties. Real property, as I said, is usually sanctioned by the state. Chattel property, usually there's nothing that says you can own chattel property. But we have this notion that ownership is allowed, right? There is no, I don't have to go and register with the state that I own a cell phone, right? So all these concepts become very interesting, because one of the core questions we have from Article 2 is, well, it clearly prevents states from claiming territory in space. But what does that mean for property? What does it mean for somebody that wants to go and use parts of space on a permanent or semi-permanent basis? And let me give you some examples of when this has been attempted, right? So this is a lunar deed. You can buy one of these from the Lunar Embassy. This was a company started by a guy named Dennis Hope. And Dennis Hope essentially walked into a courthouse in California and said, I would like to file a security interest in the moon and in the sun and all the planets. And filing a security interest in the United States is a very simple thing. You just go in and do it. Well, all a security interest does is say, well, when this person, goes bankrupt, this is the line of debtors. And the court will then look at the security interest and make a determination as to who has valid security interest and who doesn't. Um, but Dennis Hope's ideal here was, well, if the courthouse says that I have a security interest in it, then it's essentially that I own this thing. That's not really how the law works. Nevertheless, he began to sell lunar deeds and claimed that he owned the moon. Well, does he own the moon? Probably not. In fact, he got in trouble in China for this. He set up an outpost in China and was selling these deeds, and his representative in China was actually put in jail for fraud. So that's one example of somebody trying to claim moon ownership. We also have examples of pieces of space that have been brought back. This is a rock, a piece of lunar regolith that was brought back by the Apollo missions. And so NASA owns this. Now, NASA will tell you that that this can't go into private ownership, that it will always belong to the government. And in fact, when NASA loses rocks, they will pursue these and persecute the individuals that have them. But then we get to this, and this is from a company that is now out of business called Planetary Resources, who wanted to go out and mine asteroids and mine the moon. Well, what did they need? What did they want to do? Well, they wanted to go and pick up those rocks and be able to say that they owned them. But they ran into a major problem. Investors wanted to know whether this was legal, and their response would often be, well, we think it is. Well, this actually led them to this need to go and lobby the United States Congress to get Congress to pass a law that said United States citizens could own lunar resources and that this didn't violate Article 2. Now, what is happening here? How did they do that? Well, you have to understand this concept of property as a bundle of rights, right? When you own real property, there are lots of rights that you have. You have possession, control, enjoyment, exclusion, disposition, but you can sell these rights, right? If I want to sell you the mining rights to my property, I can sell you those. And I no longer have those in my bundle of sticks. I might own the property, but I can no longer control the owning or the mining. If I want to rent my property to a lesser, right? I give them possession, I give them control, I give them enjoyment in exchange for their rent. I am the owner of the property, but I no longer am the full controller of the property. And so what the US law does and what other laws do are they separate these sticks out. And essentially they say, well, there are parts of this enterprise of property that can be done, and there are parts that can't. And so what the US law essentially says, well, you can't own the property that you're mining, but you can own the items that you mine out. You can own those rocks. And it should be clear here that here's one of the problems. Article 1 says that you can use space, but it also says that there should be free access to all areas of celestial bodies. Am I allowed to exclude you from an area? Now, we then get, I told you, the law from the United States in 2015. Luxembourg passed one in 2017, the UAE in 2020, Japan in 2021. And the most recent things that I've read is that Brazil, India, UK, and China are all actually working on ways in which they can make this legal in their country. Now, this brings up a big question, right? What about coordination? If all these companies are going to go and mine celestial bodies, how do we make sure they're not damaging each other? And this is important, right? This is the north and south pole of the moon. The south pole there with all that blue, that is thought to be water. That is also thought to be the most important resource on the lunar surface. And at the moment, there are 4 states that are all planning to go there. The United States, Russia, China, and India all have missions to the lunar surface. So how do we work out this question of who can use the resources? How do we not bump into each other? Can you protect a claim? And that is where the law is actually turning. We're no longer having a discussion about whether the Outer Space Treaty allows these types of things. We're actually having discussions about how we do this. And so, as we've seen, we get national legislation. At the United Nations Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space, there is currently a working group on space resources that are working on very specifically how can we coordinate states so that they don't come into conflict. We also have this notion from the United States Artemis Accords, which is not a legal document, it's a policy document, but it puts forward this idea of safety zones. And safety zones are important because what they are premised on is not the ownership of the property, but the ability to exclude based around the notion of safety. Now, this is opposed by states like China and Russia, but nevertheless, there seems to be this acceptance of this idea that we've got to figure out how to coordinate these activities. And to say at the bottom, right, these technologies are going to develop more. Now, I don't think we're on the verge of having lunar mining. I think there's a lot of investment, a lot of R&D that needs to happen. But I think that the complexity of these are going to increase, and then we're going to need legal regimes that govern them. And so if there are any of you in the audience that are interested in the law, you might be one of the lawyers working this out. And we can see clearly this happening in different ways. And so I usually teach in the United Kingdom. So here I point out the Space Industry Act of 2018. And I point it out because of the name, right? It's the Space Industry Act. It is about creating a place for business and making it so that you can have a successful space industry. And so one of the things that we have to think about when we think about the law is 2 things. What prescriptions do we need to protect people? That's what the law often does. It protects people. But also the law often fosters innovation, and it fosters this notion of states being able to develop what they're doing in real ways. And so this is the new realm of law, is figuring out how you write laws that embrace the space industry and allow for it to flourish. And I think that's the challenge that we have to face as we move forward. It's not about throwing out something like the Outer Space Treaty. It's about developing the law in constructive ways to ensure that we both protect third parties, but also allow ourselves to take advantage of the vast opportunities that space bring to us. And with that, I will leave you for the day. I hope that the conference is very successful. If you have questions about my presentation, please feel free to reach out to me. And again, I wish I could have been here live to answer your questions in person. Have a great day. Good day, everybody. My name is Pete Blunt. I'm sorry I can't be live today. Unfortunately, it's flu season here in Europe, and so I will be taking
So, yeah, good morning to all the dignitaries, Honorable Narayan Bhargav sir, Honorable Radhika ma'am, and our Professor J.K. Met, and all the respected delegates and dignitaries presented here. So, we shall start with what we witnessed yesterday and will proceed further. So, the inaugural session started with a visionary tone, bringing together distinguished dignitaries all over the state and different countries. So, the conference commenced with the traditional lamp lighting. So, emphasizing, like the courage and the vigor of the international modality. So the conference theme and program framework were presented by our director, Dr. P. Rakshit. So our international perspectives were also shared by Professor Dr. Prem Gopal Rajgopal from Malaysia University and Dr. APJ Jayaraman, while Mr. Umesh Rastogi showcased science popularization and outreach. Key milestones were also included, like the launch of a cosmology book, Natural Universe Expansion, NUE, the revolutionary theory that challenges Hubble's law, authored by Mr. Baldev Krishnan Sharma. We also signed some MOUs internationally with Must University and on-site with Bharati Vidya Bhavan Muktangan Exploratory Science Center. And we also launched the Stellar Science Initiative of RKCSA, the Astro Kids Discovery Program. Following that, we also had the awards. So the best internship awards were presented to Mr. Rudra Patel and Mr. Rohan Shekhar Advani. And best thesis award were snatched by Dr. Amey, Dr. Sunil Datta, Dr. Kirti, Dr. Shamta, Dr. Amisha, and Dr. Darshi. And after that, we also conducted successfully three international tracks. The track one was astrophysics and astronomy, track two of STEAM, track three of earth science and geology. And we ended with the soft launch of the conference proceedings, followed by high tea and networking. So this was all for yesterday. So now, as we begin yesterday, now as we uh, proceed, yesterday we answered how, because we started with technology. So today mostly sessions are management. So we would be asking about why now. So and I would be handed the stage to now my co-anchor Varda ma'am. Varda ma'am, please start with the plenary session, ma'am, please. Okay, yeah. Over to Varda ma'am.
Good morning, all. Good morning to all distinguished delegates, respected academicians, industry professionals, researchers, students joining us virtually from across region and time zone. As we progress into day two of our conference, KCSA pleads to present a highly anticipated global roundtable plenary session conducted focusing on the theme technology and management. In today's rapidly evolving world, technology and management are no longer parallel disciplines, but they are deeply intertwined. This plenary session brings together experts who will deliberate on how technological advancement, strategic management, and innovation together shape sustainable growth, policy frameworks, and organizational futures. We are honored to be joined by an eminent panel of experts connecting with us online as well as offline. I would like to call Dr. Vineet Joshi and Dr. Shadab Sheikh. Please occupy the dais. We sincerely thank all our panelists for taking time out of their schedules to join this global discussion and share their insight with us through this virtual platform. Now, let me introduce our esteemed panelists one by one. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our honor to introduce Dr. Vineet Joshi, an eminent academician and thought leader in accounting and finance, currently serving as assistant professor at School of Commerce, NMIMS, deemed to be University, Navi Mumbai. Dr. Joshi brings with him 24 years of experience, including 15 years in industry at managerial position and 8 years in academia. He is prolific researcher with 15 published papers, including Scopus Index, ABDC listed works, co-authored 5 books, contributed to multiple book chapters, and helped develop study material for Mumbai University's IDOL program. His outstanding research has earned him numerous Best Paper and Best Presentation award, and he is recognized as Research Fellow of INTI International University, Malaysia. Beyond academics, Dr. Joshi is a dynamic communicator and thought leader, having delivered TEDx talk on Ram Rajya, the flawless model of governance and leadership, and participated in many podcasts such as Ram the Perfect Manager, which inspiring audience on leadership, management, and ethical governance. His work seamlessly bridges academic excellence, practical insight, and public engagement. Please join me in giving a warm round of applause to Dr. Vineet Joshi. Our next panelist is present online, Dr. Purnima Jogi. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our honor to introduce a visionary academician, an inspiring youth leader, and a national achiever, Dr. Purnima Jogi. She is a distinguished scholar with PhD in Commerce, MBA Finance with university rank, and multiple professional diplomas. She is a transformational force behind some Karnataka's largest youth-driven initiatives, leading more over than 6,000 volunteers in 680 government school, an achievement recorded as first in India. She has organized various international conferences and youth-centric programs reaching 15,000 plus youths. As a master trainer, she has shaped the future of more than 4,500 lecturers and 12,500 NSS volunteers, delivering impactful training in life skills, PFMS, leadership, personality development, disaster management, and youth empowerment. Her extraordinary service has earned over 34 national and international honors, including Guinness World and Asian Book Records. Dr. Purnima Jogi stands as a symbol of leadership, excellence, and unwavering dedication to nation building. Welcome, Dr. Purnima Jogi. Now, next is Dr. Suraj Saha. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to meet a dynamic force in the world of analytics, Dr. Suraj Shah. With more than 12 years of experience in business analytics, marketing analytics, and consumer insights, he leads the way as chairperson of the CES GUNI Global Center of Analytics. He also served as Associate Dean Research and Associate Professor at Ganpat University, CMSR, driving innovations in teachings, research, and industry collaborations. Dr. Shah has presented 45 plus papers published widely in top journals, authored impactful books. He is winner of prestigious President Award and the Outstanding Young Management Researcher Award from AIM International USA. He continues to inspire learners and professionals alike. Let's warmly welcome the multifaceted and inspiring Dr. Suraj Shah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now it is my pleasure to introduce our distinguished guest, Associate Professor Dr. Khashyar Yachdani from Malaysia University of Science and Technology, Malaysia. Dr. Yazdani is the accomplished associate professor and the head of System Engineering and Management program, bringing a wealth of academic and research experience to our event. He holds a PhD in technology management and has been actively involved in teaching, research supervision, and international academic collaborations. Dr. Yazdani's work span is in critical areas of engineering management and technology, and he has contributed to numerous scholarly initiatives globally. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Khashyar Yachdani. Next esteemed panelist is present on the dais, Dr. Shadab Sheikh. Sir, we are delighted to welcome you as an accomplished IT professional with more than 13 years of experience in delivering expertise solutions across global projects. A computer engineering graduate, he has led diverse teams and worked across domains such as HRMS, aviations, logistics, e-commerce, banking, and AI. Skilled in full cycle web development and system integration, he also holds notable certification including Professional Scrum Master 1, Data Science and AI with Python from Harvard University. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Shadab Sheikh.
Thank you, guys.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Akshat Mohite, co-founder and CEO of Astroburn Space and Defense Technologies and scientist astronaut candidate trainee for project supported by NASA. A visionary in space research, he has over 10 publications, international presentations, and recognition from NASA. Beyond his technical expertise, he inspires as a global advocate for space exploration and sustainability. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Thank you so much.
Now, the moderator of today's discussion is Dr. Mukund Madhav Tripathi, Associate Dean, NMIMS deemed to be University, Navi Mumbai. His experience and leadership will ensure a focused, engaging, and thought-provoking discussion. May I now request Dr. Mukund Madhav Tripathi to kindly take over the session and commence the global roundtable discussion. Wishing all the participants an insightful and impactful plenary session. Welcome, Dr. Tripathi.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes, thank you so much.
First of all, a very good morning to one and all present here. On the dais, delegates, dignitaries, and all my young kids. It's good to see you. Way back in 2006, 2007, our president, the then president of our nation, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, he visited into Dikshant Samaroh of Banaras Hindu University, and I was one of the students at that point in time. So while his address, the key point that he mentioned 20 years back was the era is not belonging to technology anymore. Era is not belonging to management anymore. The era is belonging to technology management now. So technocrats or managers should join hands together and they must become techno managers. That is the era. So this is called a vision statement of a visionary leader. I'm really happy to see that the theme of this panel discussion today is technology and management. It is not technology, comma, management. So with that, first of all, I would like to welcome all my panelists present here. online and offline. I could see
Thank you, sir.
all of us have joined. And today we will see the classical example of how to manage this technology and management. I was writing down the starting note for all my panel members. I have written it down. There were some pluses and minuses. I wanted to have it only 2 minutes. But then when we write down as a teacher, it goes around 10 minutes. So what to do? I cut it down, but then I feel like, no, there are something which is missing. Then I added, and it went up to around, let's say, more than 200 words. I was like, I want to make it 2 minutes, not more than that. Ultimately, I took help of AI management tool. No need to take names, but then that tool has helped me around to set the stage for technology and management panel discussion. So with the help of that, I have developed a brief, concise 2 minutes setting tone statement for our panel discussion. It goes this: across the globe, we see technology redefining management practices. I'll take certain global companies as an example and some Indian companies. Amazon, for example, use data analytics extensively into consumer retention, buying behavior study, and then ensuring that the repurchase is happening. And they automate the efficiency at economies of scale level. Tesla, more than 100-year-old company, now integrating technology deeply into strategic decision making. Not just manufacturing and supplying it across, rather supply chain analytics has become a core. Indian enterprises like Tata Group and Reliance Industries have embraced digital transformation, whether through smart manufacturing, digital platform, or data-driven. So if you see, whether it is Amazon, whether it is Tesla, be it Tata, be it some other company, data-driven analysis of technology management is now setting the road ahead. That is how the core is decided. However, the problem that is coming to us is technology by itself does not guarantee success. Technology management by itself does not guarantee success. So what it is guaranteeing? It is effective management and determination to determine how technology management is adopted, aligned with organizational goal, and integrate with human capabilities. I was going through the profile of Dr. Joshi, where he has worked about how the leadership skill of RAM can be inculcated into today's business environment. So we would like to hear from sir whether Sri Ram is going to help us into technology management or not as far as ethical conduct is concerned. Resilience and other things will definitely come in picture. How to manage the ethics of technology management is a core. How to balance automation with employment, specifically in countries like India. We are very good, very intelligent, everything is very damn good. But the thing is, the extent up to which employment has to be given is a task, is one of the biggest tasks that we are having. Speed with ethical responsibilities. We need to manage our speed, rather we have to overspeed other developed countries. But responsibility should be at core, and innovation with sustainability. ESG, SDG, nowadays we see that research paper and conferences are focusing upon this. So how to manage the technology management with innovation and sustainability. So with this stage setting, we are fortunate to have an eminent panel members online and offline with us. I encourage audience to engage yourself, a question answer session. Maybe we can, if time permits and organizations permit, we would like to request a couple of questions from the audience also. It will be quite an engagement session. Let's reflect actively on how technology and management together can shape today's conference. So with this, one by one, I would like to go ahead with our present panelist in the order which was narrated by Professor Joshi short while ago. So starting with Dr. Vineet. Sir, your take, a quick 1 or 2 minutes take on this topic, technology and management.
Sir, you have. Sorry. Sir, you have rightly said that technology and management is now not a comma. It's now technology management. It should be used as a conjoining word, because when it comes to any technology, it has a power to disrupt and construct both. So how to use that technology is something that become part of technology management. Now we are in a era where there are a lot of disruptions that are coming in, and management of those technologies is really a crucial thing that is coming up. Now I specifically belong to finance. Now the things that is coming up, which is already knocking on our door, is something called as CBDC, central bank digital currency.
Yeah.
Way back, somewhere 5 years back, if I am not wrong, 5, 6 years before, we come across the concept of UPI, Unified Payment Interface, and it had transformed how we transact, how we use money. Now, this is the next big thing which is coming up, CBDC. It is already launched, it is already there, not in use by the most of the common people, but yes, it is still it is there in market. The thing that I can see down the line after 5 years, that it has a capacity to replace your physical currency altogether, because the management is basically about control. When we say money, it's a transaction, it's a way of transaction. It is how we transact, it how we purchase, it is how we take the goods or services, whatever we want. Now, say example, here I do see a lot of students that are sitting here. Suppose these students are having scholarship. That scholarship could be disbursed in the form of CBDC, and that money could be only redeemed to the designated places. Now, the power to control money will be there in the form of programmable CBDC. So
Great
that is
points.
one of the important and impressive technology that is coming in financial world.
So technology management into digital technology management
Digital.
into financial sector.
Yes.
Great, sir. Great, sir. It will be a great point to discuss today. We'll take more on this. After Dr. Joshi, we'd like to go to Dr. Purnima Jogi. Ma'am, if you can hear me. Your take, 2 minutes take, and then we'll proceed to the next one.
Thank you so much, sir. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely clear.
Respected chairperson, fellow panelists, and dear participants, good morning to one and all. Today, I would like to speak on how technology and management together can change the future of our youths. As someone rightly said, technology is a useful servant, but a dangerous master. So youth must learn to control technology and not to be controlled by it. Technology gives youth powerful tools like internet, mobile apps, AI, and online learning platforms. Management teaches them how to plan goals, use time wisely, and make smart decisions. As the famous quote goes, a goal without a plan is just a wish. When both are used together, youth become more confident, skilled, and independent. For example, a student can learn coding from YouTube and plan daily study using a calendar app. This smart use of technology with the time management helps them get internships and good jobs. In entrepreneurship, youth can start small businesses using Instagram for marketing and UPI for payments. With basic financial planning and record keeping, they can earn a steady income. As rightly said, don't wait for the opportunity, create it. So let me end this beautiful quote with my talk. The future belongs to those who prepare for it today. Thank you all for your kind attention. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Great. So post Dr. Jogi, we would like to proceed to take call of Dr. Suraj Shah. Sir, over to you for 2 minutes.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So today technology moves faster than ever. When we talk about AI, artificial intelligence, things satellite see, data predicts, and automation decides. So I would like to quote Bhagavad Gita that quietly reminds us, Yukta har viharasya, Yukta chestasya karmasu. It means balance in action is the key of excellence. When we talk about balance in action, technology without balance is not progress, it is chaos. Just like a rocket without guidance doesn't reach orbit, technology without management doesn't create value. So management is that invisible guidance system. that the navigation that ensures innovation reaches the right destination. When I talk about management, traditionally management means control. Today it means conscious leadership. So the definition has changed from control to leadership. Similarly, the Gita gives us powerful management lesson. Karmani vadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachanam. Focus on action, not just outcomes. In space, missions, scientists focus on process precision, not instant success. In organization, great leaders focus on systems, culture, people, not just quarterly numbers. So I would like to conclude with a very routine life example. In our daily life, we all carry powerful technology, our smartphones. That sir was citing an example to set the stage. The same device can educate or distract. Same device can connect or isolate. Same device can empower or exhaust. What makes difference? Not technology, but management of attention. So just like organizations manage resources, individuals must manage time, focus, and attention. This is the future of management, from managing systems to managing self. Thank you.
So briefly and nicely connect all the multiple dots, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
After Dr. Shah, we'd like to explore the understanding with Dr. Khashayar Yazdani from Malaysia. Sir, over to you. Sir, kindly unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much for having me in this conference. Okay, actually, the topic is very interesting, and I want to look at this from the management perspective. Okay, I believe that how technology can help the management as well. Okay, rather than the technology needs to be managed, I believe that the management also need technology to do it better. For example, as we know, nowadays decision making become data driven, and how important is the real-time data, predictive analytics, something like this to make a better decision. Or another aspect is the hierarchy to agile structure, remote and hybrid leadership, and also automation of managerial tasks and strategic roles of the managers, and all these things showing that how technology can play important roles in the success of the management nowadays.
Great point, sir. Great point to start. So technology more towards management side and managerial side.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. After that, can I have a take of Mr. Shadab Sheikh?
Hi guys.
How, sir?
I'm probably the odd man out here because I come from a corporate background more.
It's a completely connect, sir. It's
Yeah.
complementary.
Correct. So for us, technology and management is more or less the same. So it's for a management perspective, technology gives the management a more view where they can see what is exactly happening. And as you rightly said, data about data. In corporate world, or probably now in the entire world, data is the next oil. You must have heard millions of times now. And that actually drives everything. Management is related to numbers. Technology helps to achieve that. And being in India, as you just mentioned, here we have to take care. If the technology does not take care, doesn't remove certain people. So we at actually Narayan Bhargava Group, what we do is we make technology which empowers our employees to work more efficiently and give us more efficient, productive results, which automatically makes the management and the company grow. So my take is technology and management obviously goes in hand. It is nothing apart, though it was mentioned as a comma, but it was always hand together, and now it's getting more emphasized where it is coming together, and then we can take this ahead.
Two sides of a coin.
Yes.
That's what. Okay,
Correct.
great, sir. Great point. Mr. Akshat Mohite, sir, in our panel, we'd like to finally take your viewpoints for 2 minutes, sir.
I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir. Audible.
Thank you so much. So, as Shadabji rightly mentioned, I come from a startup background myself, and automation has created chaos in the startup industry because the teams work on almost all of the departments. So, when this automation part came in, a lot of population look at it as replacing human efforts. But automation of a task does not actually mean replacing human effort, but elevating the capacity or expanding the scope, as again Shadabji mentioned on the same part. So what we personally practice is just automate the repetitive tasks that do not require human intervention time to time, and rather the creative ones are still. So this line should actually not be vanished. That is what I feel. And as you were mentioning about Sri Rama, so there are a lot of principles that I personally feel have been by his technology management itself, such as if technology violates its core purpose, the scale is just going to be dangerous and not successful. So, uh, should this exist rather than can be built? And similarly, there are a lot more principles that we coming across in this session itself. So, yeah, that's my take.
So instead of can be, we should focus upon should be. That's the key takeaway. Okay.
That's the key take.
Before we proceed, sir, just one request. Probably your Bluetooth is having some disruption. We could
Okay.
manage to hear, but there was some disturbance. Okay, great. Going ahead with first key point of the panels present here, those who have talked about CTDT. Sir.
CBDC.
CBDC. Okay, so if you can throw some more light on this term CBDC, how to use this and how it can benefit the leadership to take strategic decisions, data driven, middle level manager to decide how to act upon and execute, and obviously ultimately benefit to all.
So CBDC is a central bank digital currency. It's a full nomenclature. It is launched in India already way back somewhere in, if I'm not wrong, 2022. At present, there are two versions of CBDC. One is called as wholesale rupee, which is basically used by financial institutions at macro level, or we can say highest level, the financial players, banks, NBFCs, they use that particular part. And for us, for common usage, there is something called as CBDC, that is digital rupee retail. That version that we will be using. Already it had been launched. Government of India is already using it. Rather, there is a pilot which had been launched by state government of Odisha and state government of Maharashtra for distribution of subsidies.
Okay. Okay.
So we had started with DBT, direct benefit transfer schemes, way back once we linked our Aadhaar card with the bank accounts.
Yes. Yes.
Now the same principle will be used for transfer of money in the form of CBDC to the wallets. Right now we are using our bank account through UPI. Now that CBDC will be held in wallet, it is just like a cryptocurrency that we used to hold. It will be held in wallet and it would be used to transfer. The major feature where I am personally facilitated with CBDC, it's a programmable money. Okay. Right now, whatever money you want to transfer, you just scan the QR code or swipe your card, money get transferred. But the programmable feature of that CBDC will allow the person who is transferring money to control the end usage of money. For example, you transfer your child some allowance for to be spent for the books. Now those 100 or 1000 rupees, whatever you have transferred, you could have absolute control over how that money will be spent by your child. That money could be used only for purchasing the books.
Okay.
It cannot be used for anything else. Now here at macro level or micro level, whatever you can say. For example, now government spend huge money on fertilizer subsidy.
Yes.
Now, if that money is transferred with the program, that particular amount can be redeemed only at authorized fertilizer dealers. Then misuse of that money, which is received by the farmers in the form of subsidy, would be controlled.
Okay, great point.
Now, this particular control over usage of money by the end user is beneficial for all, right from top level management, mid level management, and end level management as well.
Mhm.
Now, I will like to combine with another thing, another technological upgradations or the what we can say disruptions that is coming up on our way. There is something called as OCANE that finance fields that those all from finance field must be aware of. Yesterday we talked about SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. One of that goal is the elevation of poverty. So for that, there is a high need of financial inclusion. Now today, if you want to start any business, you need money. And if you approach any financer, the first thing that he will ask about the income proof and other things. Now, how a person having a tea stall could have his balance sheet or in profit and loss statement? ready?
Yes, that was a question I was about to ask.
Yeah. Now, with the help of that OCANE, if the person is transacting through UPI, now those transactions could be act as a base that whatever is income or whatever is business which is running.
Here
So
at
that
this
could
point,
be also, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So technology is also helpful in financial inclusion and overall elevation of our financial goals.
Dr. Suraj Shah, here I would like to take one input from your side, sir, because you're into SAS, hardcore data analyst division.
Yes.
If I move ahead with this digital currency system, a lot of data will be coming in. A lot of accounts that government has opened way back 10 years back, those accounts are still having zero balance.
Yes.
Even if there is a balance, that balance is actually not profitable. We do understand government is a non-profit organization, but we also do understand that there must be some sustainability in terms of zero balance account maintenance. There must be some sort of mechanism that we must have. So how to connect this digital banking system, central bank digital system, along with the existing challenge that government may face and actually is facing with the help of data-driven analysis. Do we have any analytical tool, solution, or something like that that we can discuss today?
Yeah. See, when we talk about SAS, SAS is there in more than 147 countries, and they are in more than 83,000 corporates. So there is a very powerful, robust system that provide different tools that provide real-time support. Right? Say for example, SAS is having the entire visual analytics system, so that provides the ready-made dashboard to manage entire finance system. Say for example, SAS is having the anti-money laundering as a part of the tool, right? So anti-money laundering is adopted by majority of the banks, right? To stop, or we can say to not to have such kind of frauds, or we can say major issues that we can avoid, right? So when we talk about SAS, it's a powerful tool in terms of the data analytics. They're providing real-time support systems. They're providing real-time solutions to the problems. When we talk about the government policies, government framework, government regulations, yes, entire mechanism is there, right? That helps on real-time basis, right? The most important thing, when we talk about the technology, when we talk about the marketing truth, you have to understand that technology sells and emotion connects, right? I'm giving you a very simple example of marketing truth. Like say for example, when I talk about the brand known as Apple, they doesn't sell phones. Tesla, they doesn't sell cars. ISRO, they doesn't sell rockets, right? They sell belief, trust, and inspiration.
Absolutely.
So when I talk about technology, it gives us features, right? When I talk about management, it gives us strategy. But when I talk about but emotion gives us meaning, right? So whether it is a financial technology, whether it is a space science, whether it is a marketing, it is not only about advertisement. It's about achievement with humility and innovation with national purpose, right? So SAS, like say for example, when I'm chairing the SAS Guni Global Center for Analytics, right, here we are offering different programs with hands-on experience. So now it's a time to prepare youth with real-time technology. So for example, our MBA business analytics students or MBA technology management students, they are working on technology on the real-time basis. So they do this hands-on exercise, they do real-time cases.
So
And
for
this
that,
all
we
the-
need real-time data, kind of
Yes.
big data is something needed.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
great, sir. Great, sir. Here, Dr. Yazdani, I would like to take your input. India-Malaysia relationship is very good. We are one of the biggest purchaser of palm oil. With other stuffs also. We are having a great channel maintenance system as far as Strait of Malacca to Chennai relationship is concerned. We are having absolutely free, issue-free channel. Here, sir, and we have just talked about financials. We have talked about the data-driven system. How to make more efficient supply chain as far as Strait of Malacca to Chennai, to Kochi, and probably to, let's say, Bubble Bundle. I'll not stretch much. I will like to restrict myself to Indian Ocean Rim only. So in that channel, what's your take on that, sir? Data-driven is at core, financial is at core, digital currency is at core.
Okay, very good question. Actually, yes, you are right. When you come to the supply chain, it's very important that we know that how the technology and technology management can help us in the supply chain. But one of the more important things is when we're talking about the supply chain, having the right information about the suppliers, okay, about the process, about the chain, is very important that we know that, okay, what are the channels that we can do the delivery? Who are the suppliers that we have? All these things back to data that currently we have, okay, because we have all these software. We are not going to have the new supplier. We are not going to have a new vendor, all whatever we discussing already, we have it. The only thing is we need to convert this data to some sort of information through the technology that we have. We need to convert this data to some sort of technology that can be tangible, can be useful in the real world. Okay, somehow whatever we discuss, it's very good when it's in the theory. When it comes to practice, it's not working properly. Okay, I believe that the reason those theories, when it comes to the practice, is not perfectly working is due to the lack of information. Okay, lack of information about the real situation in the market. As you mentioned, for transferring this supply chain, you mentioned about the palm oil or any other thing. I believe that by just having more detailed information about the channels, okay, about the methods from the real market, okay, we can make this process easier, facilitate it, and also through that we can manage it better compared to whatever now we are doing.
So if I'm taking it right, transparent and efficient communication channel.
Exactly.
Great, sir. Great, sir. I'd like to request to organizer, do I have some more time? I'll take only a couple of minutes. Great. Thank you so much, sir. Moving to now from supply chain, which hardcore product supply to currency, I would like to take yours, take, sir, Shadab Sheikh, sir. Your key points were technology and management is actually one and the same thing.
Correct.
So let's say I'm supplying a printer, a multifunction printer from Asia Pacific head office, let's say Singapore. It has to follow the path of Strait of Malacca, Malaysia, and it has come to Chennai port. After that, document clearance would happen. I'm just creating an interesting environment for my students who are listening online and sitting here or there. So there would be financials involved. Currency conversions might be there. Transactional values might be there. How to manage the overall system? Let's assume that data availability is there. In this, how to manage technological flow of a actual flow of a product along with currency flow, ensuring everyone getting their piece of benefit, their piece of profit. A tricky question, sir.
So, so it's a real life problem, I would say.
Yeah.
So what happens is here, as Yazdani also mentioned, information is key. So every single time anything happens, a status changes, like for example, a handshake happens, the product is shifted to a ship, probably it's coming from a cargo. Everything has to be tracked. Each and every point will be tracked. Each and every point will be noted. As per that, the entire flow will be created. Okay. Now, as you mentioned, once we have the data, then the system, let's involve AI in this machine learning. So machine learning works basically, I think most of the people must know here, it works on data points.
Yes.
So once we have large number of data points, automatically the system gets a predictive analysis and then it can predict. Now here the human part comes in. I wouldn't push everything to AI. The human part comes in when it checks how the data is flowing, how the financials are flowing. As sir mentioned, the digital currency, yeah, digital currency can come into picture where the suppliers, everyone is coming into one common goal. So Bitcoin, if I give an example, it's a you can say somewhat kind of a global currency. It is a currency which is can be used across, obviously all the governments are not here, which is still facilitating and allowing it, but it can be used as cryptocurrencies. CBT is, if it comes into picture, if it becomes a global currency where all the countries are doing, each country can track where it is the currency is going, where the financials are going, and how the money is being used actually. So what I feel is the financials, everything has to come into picture and they can be used properly.
I was really hoping AI to come in. Thank you for taking it in, sir. Akshat, sir, you are running a company. Now, I would like to specifically focus upon the discussion that we had in, I think, in last 25 odd minutes. Considering all these thing into consideration, how human angle and AI angle startup leader has to balance, because balancing is again one of the very key point of my starting agenda.
True. Firstly, I'd like to comment a little on the CBDC part. So the benefits that I see from this personally, being from the aerospace sector, and it is actually a key transformation for the aerospace sector actually. The traditional money answers us how much, but when CBDC comes in, it answers us why, where, and with what constraints. So when we talk about any space operation, we suffer from three major, structural problems. First is the extreme distance during a space mission. Second would be a multi-actor ecosystem, because when we talk about space, there are no boundaries. So it is a globally ongoing operation. And third is high costs of wrong decision making. So the CBDC basically allows us for autonomous executions. There are pre-authorized constraints, so we don't have to, be trust dependent. And plus, there's zero ambiguity. So that is one thing that personally is benefiting us. This pilot trials that are going on and all of this. So that being coming to your point, that was, I believe, how does a startup founder manages the AI and automation and human effort part, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yes. Great.
So personally, I feel right now, again, there was some disturbance. Am I still audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So right now, I feel it's still a very nascent stage for founders personally, because they have taken automation or AI, something that can replace human efforts completely. I've been watching at a lot of startup founders who have been automating marketing, creative work such as designing and video editing. Now there are like one people company or two people company scaling up. So the line is pretty thin. I personally distinguish it myself when a single way, that if it's a repetitive task, automate it, don't think over it a lot. If it's a creative task wherein there's some kind of marketing efforts that's going on or some campaign that I need to run personally, then that needs to be purely human run. But the lines are still unclear, I will say. People are still learning to adapt, and it'll surely take some time.
But your approach is crystal clear, sir. Great point. Dr. Purnima Jogi, ma'am. Now, we have talked a lot of positives. I would be giving you a tougher state now. What all possible negatives? Definitely there are, if there is a positive, then there would be a negatives also, and there are. So I'd like to take your take on the possible negatives that one may face across, so that we can work upon that and ensure that the positive side is more prominent than the otherwise. Dr. Jogi. I'll just close, sir. Yeah. Dr. Jogi, you want me to repeat the question?
Yes, sir.
You want me to repeat the question?
Yes.
Oh, great. Not a problem, ma'am. So we talked about a lot of positives. So starting from Dr. Joshi, then Shah, then Dr. Yazdani, Sheikh, everyone, we somehow tried to look towards the positives. Though we have talked about the limitations also, I would specifically request you to emphasize upon the challenges, the negatives of the integration. If at all it failed, then it can be a breakdown. We probably will not be having a maintenance opportunity. It would be a breakdown. Those angles, if you can throw some light upon.
The drawbacks of this technology and management integration, sir.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So I find that always youths are used less. If they get a right direction how to collab these two things, they can do a miracle. If they don't know how to collab this properly, that will end with a disaster, sir. So there are so many examples are there. For example, usually youths are using the technology but not in the right manner. So they will usually pray with the false things, and they will use the technology in so many other manners and not in the right way. They will spend lot of hour in making some reels. If the reels, if they use for the benefit of the society, they can become a social heroes also. So such technologies must be used to provide useful things to the society, not for the personal things. And also they will usually divert themselves to the negative aspects, and you wanted to use the technology and management for distraction purpose. Sorry, I'm getting so many calls. I will join you, sir.
Not
Please,
a not a problem, ma'am. Not a problem. Actually, we are also reaching towards the end. One of the finest technologies, just to culminate, one of the finest technological invention that world has experienced is nuclear fission. Now you must understand what I'm talking about. Nuclear fission and later on nuclear fusion. I mean, from an atom, we can generate immense energy without harming our environment. As far as the earth is concerned, we are not going to harm it. But looking at the side effects, if you are not taking it into primary, into plain primary and a fundamental approach of helping humanity, then one electron will create another 3 sets into uranium-235. Next 3 will make 9, 81, and so on. It will be a blast. In management, we learn 2 techniques, sir. You will agree with me. Maintenance management and breakdown management. It is always to go for maintenance management. Preemptive management is always better. So it's up to us whether nuclear technology is used for fresh, environment friendly, nuclear power generation, or else Hiroshima and Nagasaki. With this culminating remark, I would like to say thanks to all my organizing committee, IT department who could manage it so smoothly, so efficiently. And thanks to all my present panelists with me and online. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
From
Thank you.
India and abroad.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, all the panelists and moderator, for the valuable insights and enriching discussion. Now, may I call upon Mr. Narayan Bhargav and Mrs. Radhika to felicitate the panelists who are present on site. Welcome, sir.
So now we will be requesting our Honorable Narayan Bhargav sir and Honorable Radhika ma'am to further felicitate Shadab sir, Vineet Joshi sir, who are physically present among us, and our moderator, Mukund sir. Online, sir, we did certificates. We showed the certificate. So online greeting and certificate is shown for the presenters who are online present. Ma'am, just come front. थोड़ा आगे आ जाइए सब लोग. मुकुंद सर का सर्टिफिकेट्स कहाँ है? दे दो जाओ जाओ जाओ. आदि wait 1 second. विनीत सर कम फ्रंट, आगे आ जाइए सब लोग. विनीत सर का सर्टिफिकेट कहाँ है? अरे देने बोलो. फ्लावर प्रोफेसर कहाँ है? फ्लावर प्रोफेसर कहाँ है? विनीत सर. हाँ हाँ यस. सर को बोलो दोनों सर्टिफिकेट लेने की. Everyone, please. We request, thank you everyone. Now we request Narayan sir and Radhika ma'am to just be on the dais stage. So this was a very extremely well orchestrated plenary session that we had successfully. Yesterday even we had a successful session online and offline. That's a hybrid mode on science, space science, and today we had it on management technology or technology management we call. So indeed, I thank everyone for being not only from our nation and also representatives and panel from outside India, making it international conference in true sense. We had yesterday one of our prominent guest, Dr. A.P. Jayaraman. He said that this is in a true sense an international conference with the presence of international people across different parts of India. So I think my team is ready. So we look forward. We request Narayan Bhargav sir to felicitate our Vice Secretary Vinet Radhika ma'am. So we would be felicitating our chairperson, Advocate Madhav Bhonde sir in his absentia, whose blessing and kindness always matters to KCSA. And today we really miss him in both the days, and his presence always matters to us. But his yesterday we on telephonic conversation, he has conveyed best wishes, regards, and the best for the conference. Yeah. So on behalf of us, token of appreciation for our advocate Madhav Bhonde sir, founder member of Vinet Trust.
Thank you so much, Honorable Narayan Bhargav sir and Honorable Radhika ma'am. Now let's move towards next station, that is keynote session. As a part of today's technical and strategic deliberations, KCSA is pleased to present a virtual keynote session focusing on one of the most transformative interactions of our time, that is AI and Industrial Internet of Things, IIoT. We are honored to welcome Mr. Alexandre Zed, who is joining us virtually from Helsinki, Finland. Mr. Alexandre Zed is the Chief Executive Officer of Chloe and the accomplished entrepreneur and expert in IIoT and artificial intelligence. His work span is integration of intelligent systems with industrial framework, driving innovations, efficiency, and data-driven decision-making across sectors. Through this keynote, we look forward to gaining valuable insights into how AI and IIoT are redefining industrial ecosystems, enabling smarter operations, and shaping the future of technology-led management and innovations. We sincerely thank Mr. Alexander Zed for taking the time to join us from Finland and for sharing his expertise with our global audience through this virtual platform. May I now invite Mr. Alexander Zed to kindly take over the session and deliver his keynote address on AI and IIoT. Thank you.
Hello, good
Forward,
afternoon.
Yes.
Thank you for the introduction. Am I audible for everyone? At least say yes.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
You can see me, right? I would love to, first of all, say thank you to Dr. Pushpender Rakshit, the director of KCSA, who kindly invited me to join your 2 days session, which I found quite fascinating and very good topics, what I've listened to. I know Mr. Or Dr. Rakshit more than 7 years. A connection that we had, we participated in the aerospace forum in 2018 based on the, and we showcased the project we did with the Godrej Boys. And I think that maybe many of you knows that Godrej Boys, one of the participants in the Indian Space and Research Organization projects. So it was 8 years ago, actually, already. But I think we met and from that time have a very good relationship with Dr. Rakshit. So may I kindly ask you to allow me to share my screen? I have a presentation I wanted to showcase to everyone in this hall. I think it will be quite interesting for you to connect the dots between the previous panelists and discussion on the predictions, predictive maintenance, data, blockchain, artificial intelligence, in maybe some practical things which AI can enable in the manufacturing shop floor. Okay, very good. I can share my screen. Just a second. I hope you see my screen. So I will proceed. If there will be any questions or some technical lags, just let me know. Also, remarks, thank you for the event partners, because it's a very important topic that you have organized, and I think that it's really important to combine the knowledge, the ideas, exchange them, bring some angles and insights. So I'm the CEO of Kloy. Kloy is based in Finland, a global AI company that helps manufacturing enterprises around the world in aerospace, automotive, general manufacturing, to use breakthrough in artificial intelligence, precisely LLMs, for the manufacturing analytics. And it's kind of mission critical for them, in my opinion. I was already introduced, but just a few things that may be interesting for you. So I have an expertise more than 100+ projects in India, in Asia Pacific, in Malaysia, in United States, and Europe, related to Industry 4.0, related to the manufacturing, or related to the supply chain. And I have a couple of examples how the previous panelists mentioned the blockchain and machine learning, how this can be transferred in some practical things. It is in the end of my presentation, but I think it will be quite interesting for you to see some real examples. So about my company, I founded Kloy 3 years ago, and we successfully raised the investments from the Business Finland, which is actually a very prominent international ecosystem, and they have active presence in India, supporting Indian companies working with Finnish companies and vice versa. We have investments from Berkeley Skydeck, the Berkeley University in the United States, and their venture capital fund, and other manufacturing partners. So We gathered a team with 7+ years in Industry 4.0, more than 15 years in IT technology, and behind our backs as the whole team is 25,000 industrial machines that we successfully, improved efficiency in a nutshell. We also part of several associations and groups, Make in Finland, A3 Automation, and Hammer. So I learned a lot of interesting things related to the space technology and manufacturing in the space in the future and the concept from this group. So maybe I can even share some angles with you. So why I decided to create Chloe is basically to democratize artificial intelligence in the manufacturing sectors, to make it affordable, different countries, different size of the factories, make it easy to use and easy to deploy without the need of years of the implementations, and make it so simple that you don't need to train people. Like you use smartphones, you don't train neither child, neither elder people how to use them. It's very intuitive. So AI gives this opportunity. And the idea is to deploy it to hundreds of thousands of factories if possible globally. The reason why we exist is because, manufacturing is a space very well connected in a way that there are a lot of data, but in the space, when you see that there is a rocket launch, there is a lot of telemetry data, you see a lot of charts, and everyone tried to know microspec of this detail, what's going on, what is the velocity, and basically attitude, how the speed changes, etc., because it's very crucial for the further missions, how they can improve, etc. Manufacturing, in my opinion, the same. The thing is that in the manufacturing, because every factory is focused on deploying and making the parts, sometimes, and the technology advances have really different layers. Sometimes, let's say, this kind of crucial telemetry plus insights analytics been left behind the fence or solved partially. And the problem is that without really measuring every tiny detail, you basically do not understand where you have a losses or why your quality is not okay, what is with the traceability, what is with your plan. And if we connect this to the aerospace industry, of course, all these details matters. And of course, all these big companies and institutions like ISRO or NASA, or let's say private companies, they require their suppliers to have micro details, microseconds of specific cycles, etc. And there are a lot of data, and AI can really help to understand why, when, what, how to adjust. The reason why AI is really, really useful nowadays. Here is the slide, is an example. You see this kind of cardiogram. This is not a human being, this is a machine. And basically there are some parameters, etc. So of course, obviously you can read some data from it, but unless you really know what is it, unless you're really trained, you cannot get any conclusion. And this is a quite big company, and they have 20 sites globally. They face more than 10 million of losses from rejections. It's just an example. And this is a quote from their head of production that they face basically some problems with the cycles, but then they need to compare with the previous one. And the system is a bit legacy, so you cannot do this automatically. You need to assign very expensive researchers to do that. And then they need to spend a lot of their time to dig up in this complex labyrinth of the data. So this is what fundamentally was with the industry in the recent years, maybe even right now, of course, at a lot of enterprises. But the thing is that when you need to understand specific things, what happened is like searching for the needle in the haystack if you do this manually. The beauty of the artificial intelligence, and probably a lot of you already directly or indirectly been using the benefits or outcomes of the AI, that it can do, you have basically the smart brain of, let's say, Einstein in the device that can do things that for the human being will be very hard to do, or it will be very time consuming. And in my opinion, this is an amazing case because finally there is a way to marry the artificial intelligence with all this data that is available at the shop floor. And the thing is that at the shop floor, really a lot of data. So some of the common challenges or how the production shop floor, especially in the aerospace industry, look like. There are plenty of very costly equipment. Some of this equipment should be very efficient. Some of this equipment, okay, could be 40, 50% of the capacities, but frequently there are still downtimes, unexpected, abrupted due to the maintenance, due to we don't have the raw material, we don't have the order, I don't know, health issue, someone got sick, whatever you can imagine, energy outrage. I've seen a lot of things. All of this leads to the losses. Basically, I mean, I will put this into the single KPI that you need to make X parts to make Y parts, and you lose certain amount of money because you spend energy, you spend labor, etc., etc. And you, of course, can run effectively the shop floor, but things so constantly changing, and you have all these machines super smart. There are millions of data points in those machines, and there are like I don't know, 10, 20 different applications that could be used for different parts of the production process to analyze this data. And very common, those apps are, I mean, maintenance one app, planning another app, ERP third app, the business planning basically application, some IT related or quality related, it is different app. So all of this is there, but it's not connected because it was really hard to connect. It was very costly, time consuming, requires a lot of knowledge. AI allows to bridge you the gap between all of this and combine this data into the one system. This was basically the idea in 2023 behind Deploy, and we launched the company at the same time when publicly, I mean, we know about LLMs, but they become publicly available through the OpenAI, ChatGPT, and other products, Claude, and other solutions, as an example. And basically, we understood that we can now take all this data, and this data can speak any language. I mean, it can speak Hindi, it can speak Tamil language, it can speak Marathi, Malay, Chinese, Spanish, French. I mean, here is in English as a slide, but in general, the beauty is that you can ask the question about the industrial equipment or some processes. You can train the models, by the way, in a very secure environment, to be deployed locally, not only in the internet, which is very important for the aerospace and the general manufacturers. And it can give you very quickly the insights that usually was really hard to get. So there were some photos me showing this to managers of some facilities in Europe. The thing is how the AI in general, not only our product, but in general, how the AI can work with the aerospace, let's say, in particular, aerospace production and the suppliers. So the step one, there are plenty of the data and system. There are also Excel spreadsheets. There are systems that control machines. For example, SCADA, there are business analytical systems. There are planning software. There are ready-made protocols. By the way, I think in India, there are quite good players that made a lot of plenty protocols, very good machines that have been used across the India. So you can pull this data, connect all the system to the AI agent that should be really focused only on the manufacturing data. So it should not think about any other topic in the world beyond the factories. And we enable this. We've been able to deploy such, using the open source models, deploy such engines on the shop floor. So once it connects to the data, it gives the actionable insights and gives you whatever you want. You want to optimize operations, you get this information. You want some report in statistics, gas consumption, electricity consumption, you get it. You want to know, do you need to train people, etc. All of this could be easily driven from this kind of capabilities. How is it going to look like? So basically, it's kind of a mix of all data in some kind of brain of the factory. On the left side, or maybe it's right side for you, but on this side, this is like a legacy data. What is there exists at the factory. Here is an example of 6 sites. There are different performance, 800 machines, for example. You can see the batches there behind the back, the electricity, gas data, downtimes, alarms, some maintenance data. But the thing is that this side is mostly important. I will tell you in the next slide why. In general, because you can get all of this insights without understanding how this works by asking a question and by requesting it to generate specific reports for you, give an analysis, etc. So an example, we deployed to the global manufacturer. They have aerospace division, automotive division, general manufacturing division. They use furnaces. And for this company, we ran it from May to October. The average OEE was 65%. OEE, this is how, let's say, like a single KPI, how the equipment have effectively used at the factory. I think a lot of people know this. So you can see 65%, which is not that bad. But what the system was able to detect, I will zoom in, and it took us, I mean, to analyze this, it took us really like a few minutes of time, that we requested to show through the AI under the performance time and per month, and generate the table, which machines and how much basically hours and the minutes was there, and how many batches was done with this kind of gap between the actual time and ideal time. Such gap is almost 2,000 hours converted into the 220 batches. Cost of the batch, roughly $500,000. This company, we did this at one side. This company has only 50 sites in the North America. So they have also presence in Asia, they have presence in India, they have presence in Europe. It's just a really simple example how this could be used and deployed. Beyond that, this approach could be done, it was for the batch production, but this approach can go for the some manufacturing planning software. Like there are very good dashboards, easy to use, but you can use AI to retrieve very specific, very unique information for you instead of working with this pile of information. It can then notify you, can benchmark, it can tell you that you might have this kind of problem based on your historic analysis. Is one example, or this example is there is a robot at Nokia facility. Nokia produce not only mobile phones, but right now they don't produce them. They produce a lot of telecom equipment that is used globally, actually, the base stations, etc. And they have robots at their facilities. So there is an energy consumption data from the robot. They didn't have a cool dashboard. So those dashboards purely deployed by AI using their data and available at their servers. So you can see here is all of this data. This could be exported to the tables, etc. It's just a simple example how this could be used and interpreted. And then, as I mentioned, could be the reports on the gas consumption, also generated by the system, by the analysis of the existing data in the equipment, energy consumption, alarms, etc. This was our mock-up for the quality data, which was also approved by one of the customers. I mean, it was very easy to use an example of to use AI to explain it, what is the default things that available and what kind of data we would like to visualize. And this is the mockups where we'll generate something more close to this. But the good thing is that right now, everyone, any enterprise or producer or software company can think what exactly they would love to achieve and very quickly approve it internally or with external suppliers and develop it or deploy it, maybe a few weeks of time needed for that, less than a month, 1 person, 2 person. I think this is very important breakthrough that everyone should acknowledge, meaning that the cost of the software is going really, really down, meaning that it will create a lot of capabilities in this sector. And by capabilities, if we'll do the outlook, we see the progress with the space exploration, with the missions, with the launches. I think that there is a very hot topic. There are 2 hot topics in the world right now: is small nuclear reactors to power to give the energy for the data centers, for the AI, etc. Second topic: how to put in the space basically data centers, because you have abundance of the energy there, meaning that there will be more and more payloads. And behind there should be some maintenance, there should be production, because it doesn't make sense to produce it on Earth, deploy outside, makes sense to produce it in the outer space. So you will need a robot to do this, probably, maybe not right now, but in the 5 to 10 years outside. And the last thing, probably the humanoid robotics, how you can train these machines to support humanity in a good sense. So this is just steps towards those three things that I mentioned to you. And the third example, we partner here with one of the companies, but they're also available on our side, or I mean, there are plenty of solutions. But here, what I wanted to tell you, how AI, blockchain, and machine learning could be used for the supply chain intelligence and the global control tower. Very like 3 steps, 3 simple examples. But first of all, there are a lot of publicly available data of the goods and ships and aircrafts around the globe where they are. So this is a very beautiful map. Number one, based on the machine learning capabilities, based on this data, you can see, okay, the specific train lanes you are interested in. I did before this call the filter. You can see the some routings and 150 shipments from India go into various global destinations. What is interesting, how much time it will take port to port, how much time it will, how many shipments been there. So this is an example how the system can understand, and then it could be based on much more data sets, could be thousands of shipments. It can tell you the average time, will take you 30 hours from India to, let's say, Europe or to the United States with the connections, and etc. Which kind of airline. Same for the Malaysia. But also you can build this kind of overview. I mean, we are not thinking about it. We're usually consumers of such kind of things, but here is behind the back is machine learning that constantly compare, does the flight departed, where our cargo, was it on the flight from Mumbai or Bombay airport, or is it in Dubai right now, when it actually departed, etc., etc. So all of this, we don't see it, but artificial intelligence, especially machine learning, already do it on the background. So such kind of things could be super valuable for the production floors, in my opinion, especially if you support kind of global critical manufacturing industries and institutions. So I think that we will see really a big breakthrough based on the speed of the development of the artificial intelligence. And I really hope that every manufacturer finally will be able to make their own applications at the shop floor and, like solve these basic things. And this will allow them to get the better quality on, create more complex projects that is needed for all these things that we will see in the future, especially in space exploration. So I think that the time is slightly running out, but wanted to say that last remarks, that the technology is suitable for large enterprises with very valuable savings, medium-sized enterprises, similar quite good savings, usually by improving in the efficiency, and small and medium enterprises where there might be a small team, but they would love to automate a lot of stuff. And you can now use for any of the factories this kind of technologies. So we aiming for 2026 as the company to generate a next level and layers of the systems, as I mentioned to you, as our roadmap in the journey. So some ideas that we had. And basically, if you're interested in, here's my email, you can reach out, or LinkedIn. And we are present in Europe, but also we have a vast network of partners in India, obviously in Malaysia, in the United States, and other countries. So if someone interested in other topics or deeper collaboration or exchange of the technologies or some pilots, please welcome to connect with me. Thank you so much for the opportunity. If you have any questions, happy to answer them.
Any questions to anyone? Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable insights.
Thank you.
Yes. Now, may I call upon Dr. Pushpendu Rakshit to have some words?
Okay, but sir wants to talk. Mic de dijiye aap. Dr. Sir. Yeah, so it's almost to be a decade now that we both are connected, and definitely it is a matter of proud and privilege for us having you here today, and we look forward now. One question is there from Professor J.K. Matt. So yeah, yes, sir. Please with your question.
Yeah. I don't know how do I address you. Brief. Give me
Alex, you can
Alex.
say Alex.
Alex.
Yeah.
Okay, Alex,
Yeah.
that was nice presentation and very nice initiative. And in a short time, you have achieved a very good number of projects that in multiple countries. I have a specific question, especially in the supply chain. Are you also incorporating the spatial intelligence? You mean the location, in intelligence, or other word that is used is, are you using GIS also in this? Because this is the next step of AI, is to incorporate spatial intelligence. Okay. So any thoughts on that?
Thank you for the question. Yes, for the supply chain, for the ocean freight and air freight, the satellite data is used to verify or update every maybe 15, 20 minutes where the vessel is. I quite agree with you, because this is only where the cargo is moving. But if we will zoom out, let's say, imagine there is an enterprise. There could be a satellite image of the enterprise territory. For example, you have solar panels, etc. You have the data from the solar panels. You have the energy grid consumption. So you can nowadays you can combine all of this together and have very, very intelligent outlook what's going on with the enterprise level. So from maybe mid-sized large business to the state level. And I would really be interested to see how this would be used by businesses. What you're asking, how the satellite data, because there are a lot of SAR providers right now, and how this data could be used for the agriculture in a simpler way, with some predictions and analysis, or for the manufacturers, or for the sustainability, for example, how to tackle the emissions and basically make better lives.
Very nice answer, actually. Yes, I am happy with the answer. Yes, that is the future. There's a lot more intelligence can be incorporated in the AI applications. I look forward to more interactions with you. Incidentally, I come from that background. The spatial intelligence, we did a lot of applications for very large national level logistics supply chain applications for a very large, group of companies. So there's a lot that can be done if maybe we can, connect separately, and then we can take it forward.
Yeah, please. I'm more than happy.
One last thing is, there are a lot of students hearing you. You know the Kalpana Chawla Space Academy.
Yeah.
They're in the initial stages. So some more encouraging words from you about how the space technology, especially the telecom satellites and the remote sensing satellites, how that information can be used for various business applications that you are doing.
So I would say the following, because the students, you are studying the space topic, so you already know a lot of things, and you might have even access to certain kind of ideas which satellite is. And right now you have a freedom of a creator to build any kind of application you can imagine, if you will spend a bit of time for it. So I will encourage you to try to combine the knowledge, the advanced knowledge you are learning in this university, because not that many people knows about the space that much as you could know. Combine it with the ability to create specific applications for maybe some personal usage, or for the state level institutions, or for the, let's say, enterprise factory level institutions. So let's say, look for the inspiration. If you live in specific, let's say, city, try to see what's going on around the factory and think how you can combine the space data with the factory data, and you can bring this idea to the management, or through your university, you can bring this idea to the state level or even country level. The thing is that you have a beauty right now, tremendous beauty, almost free. I'm not saying it's free, but you have almost free tools to try to design some applications, you don't need to have a lot of knowledge in this, how to build these apps. So AI can do this, 90% of the things. You can test it out and you can share it with other people around the globe. So exchange your ideas and try to build something.
Very nice. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, yeah, thanks, Oleg, for being there with having a huge time difference and giving your precious time for this, our first International Space Science Technology Management Conference. We, on behalf of our trustee board, our governing body, our board of studies, and my team, we give you all heartiest thank you. And yes, with the time that we are always connected with each other, in spite of hardly getting an opportunity to see each other physically, but through these mediums, we definitely look forward to have more connections. And thanks a lot for all being there and making this day special for everyone. And we would look forward to have a virtual greeting of thanks to you for your presence, having virtually and making this keynote session very, very positive. So we are very happy to have you here with your special address, and kindly accept on virtual note our thanks.
Mhm. Yeah, I saw it. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
yes. No, I
Appreciate it.
will just a second,
Yeah.
It's all, technology, and it takes at a time, just to fix it up. But
Uh-huh.
still yeah. So this is what. So have a kind acceptance of our virtual vote of thanks, and be associated always as you are. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate. Have a wonderful day and productive sessions to
Yeah.
others. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a great day. Now, after this, I would take a minute to felicitate one of our prominent person who has supported not only by nominating the students for internship award, but also having his own wife's friend, and friend's mother from Gujarat visiting our this conference, and along with that also sending 2 students awardee for their paper presentation, as well as they had the award. So I would like to invite Mrs. Darshi Shah, who is now Dr. Darshi Shah, to be on dais on behalf of her husband, who is a professor in we have that is Ganpati University, Gujarat. So I request ma'am to have the honor on behalf of Professor Dr. Suraj Shah. And for felicitating, I just require my team member Shraddha and Dr. Shailendra, the conference co-conveners and track coordinators, to just felicitate ma'am with a token of love. Sir was present virtually for the roundtable conference 2, technology management, and physically he could not be with us, but we can always have the felicitation done. So thank you for coming all together from Gujarat for last 2 days and being with us today when they are having their paper presentation in track 5 and 6. Thank you, Akanksha. Now I'd like to welcome Rahul for proceeding further. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Now we will move with the tracks. Okay. So yesterday we completed with tracks 3, and the last track was Earth Science and Geology. Now we'll move forward and we will start our track 4, Space Science Education, Policy and Law. Okay, so this is our track 4. And I request all the presenters, online and offline, to check their microphones, their technology, so that we will move fluently. Okay. And I wish you have already mailed your PPTs to the mail. Mail. Yeah. Okay. So moving forward, I would like to request now the session chairs to occupy their positions. And to do so, I would like to introduce our session chairs for this session. Okay. Our session chair for this session is Dr. Pawanjeet Kaur from Symbiosis Skill University, Pune. And co-chair is Dr. Vineet Joshi and Dr. Pushpendu Rakshit. And our faculty expert, Professor Iqbal Dhalat, KCSA. Okay, yeah. So now we'll start with a paper presentation, and our first presenter is Shruti Satpute. Okay. Yeah. And meantime, Mrs. Nandita, please be ready. Yeah, ma'am, you can present.
Yeah, for the track paper presenters, so the panel wants to have a small request like we had yesterday. So it will be total time would be 5 minutes we will be having 4 minute first two rings getting belled, and then after 5 minutes 4 rings will be belled. So try to sum up the presentation in complete 5 minutes. Yeah, thank you. All the best to the presenters of track 4. What's the track? The track is on business management and space science, education, policy, and law.
So shall I start? Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Shruti Shrikant Satpute and I'm a law student from A.R. Antole College, Mumbai. So yesterday I saw so many presentations, so it was so colorful and the presenters has presented it so well. So, but today in my presentation, you may not see so many of colors because science and technology are so much of colorful. But when it comes to law, it is only black and white. So as you can see my outfits are also black and white because the law is only black and white. So it cannot be even a gray, because if there are a gray sections, so it means that the law is silent at that position. And where the law is silent, then there are so many escaped, means a people can do escape from the liability, and which leads to manipulation, and further it may leads to uh, further it may leads to fraud, I can say that, or abuse of power. So why am I saying this? Is it relevant to my topic? Then yes, because the topic which I'm dealing is human right in space, outer space, expanding fundamental rights beyond Earth. Now, space is not a dream anymore. It's a reality and which we are in living. So previously, space was mostly occupied, I can say that, by the government missions, but now it is not so. And the professional astronauts were sent, but now a ordinary person can also travel if he have money in it. So now there are much need. Even the private actors are also involved in it. Space tourism is increasing. Commercial space flights and multi-country mission are emerging. So increasing the wide expand, the risk factors also expands. So the space now explore. So space we're exploring. So the space law must be explored more. So we must keep sure. So we must make sure that the human safety and dignity and protection must be like on earth, because we do protect our human rights in the earth. So the question arises, do this human rights travel with us in the space? So why this matters, why this human law does matters? Sorry. So why this human law matters in the space? As we all know, the space is very dangerous. So people in space faces extreme environment, life support dependency, radiations, change in gravity, psychological stress, isolations, and muscles and bone weakness, and many more other things do human get influence with. So without any legal protection, individual is at risk. There is an abuse. There must be an exploitation of a person, unsafe conditions, and discriminations or unequal treatment. So for this, the solution is human rights, ensuring it ensures the dignity, safety, and fairness. So, okay. Okay, okay. Change. Huh. Huh. Yes. So human history shows the real risk. As you can see, as we have all known the space accidents, you can see over there. But the main accident which I can speak here now is the Columbia 2003 disaster, where an Indian original, Kalpana Chawla, lost her life. So this terrifying incidents remind us that the human rights and the human life in space is at risk. So also more people entering into space means a greater responsibility is on the country. So India's first human mission, Gaganyaan, makes this topic timely. So there are some key rights which must travel beyond Earth, like right to safe working condition, right to health and medical care, non-discrimination, mental health and privacy with a reasonable restrictions, and environmental protection for the further explorer. Next. So the objective is to study, this study aims to see whether the human rights apply to the space, to find the legal gaps and to understand who is responsible in the space. Now there are, next, there are core treaties like Outer Space Treaties, Rescue Agreement, Liability Convention. This all basically says that space does not belongs to anyone. So it belongs to all humankind. No nation can claim over space. States are responsible for the national space activity. Astronauts must be guided and protected or assisted when they are in danger, and damages must be compensated. But however, none of this explicitly says that humans have enforceable rights in space. So this silence is a major challenge. So we have strong human rights on earth, like Universal Declaration of Human Rights, international conventions, and national constitutions. Like we have our Constitution of India. So
Please conclude.
Okay. So I would like to conclude that the space law today was designed for the state, not for the ordinary people. Human beings are now entering into space faster than the legal system are adopting. Therefore, human right must extend beyond Earth. State must keep protected its citizens wherever they are sending them. Private companies must be regulated. If we do not update our legal system, humanity may repeat the same mistakes on a larger scale. So the further belongs not only to the technology but to the human who travels with it. Technology takes us to the space, but the right who keeps the right are kept are what kept the human there. Thank you.
Thank you, Shruti. It was a lovely presentation.
Thank you,
I
ma'am.
have few questions for you. Can you go to the slide? Your Indian scenario you have shown somewhere. Yeah, the previous one. Just before the result and discussion, the previous slide.
Mm.
Yeah. So you were talking about the Indian scenario, right?
yes.
In India, like multiple laws are there already for enhancing the safety of astronauts and all, right? What is your intake on that? I mean, in future, are those laws need to be get like few slightly change or something so that whatever the changes we are observing in space, because nowadays since every country is going over space, right, there are few changes in those laws need to be incorporated, right?
Yes.
What are your intakes on that?
Yes, it must be updated due to the increasing the expansion, and there must be amendment as well where there is a need. So yes, there must
So
be,
any recent amendment that we have observed in Indian law
because
regarding to
India
that?
have signed the treaties, but we don't have much space, specific law related to the space. We have various policies and the guidelines.
Right.
Yes. So we need to be we must have a national law for the
Is there
space.
recent change in any law or any amendment has been taken till now? Like just the recent cases, 24, 25, if you have come across any recent law which have been incorporated for having the human rights matter in space.
Not related to human rights, I'm aware of, but
Okay.
regarding the private sector, it has been there.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you
Yes,
enlighten upon
yes, it's an IN space, SPS space, and BIS standards, which deals with private sector's growth with technological guidelines for safety, compliance, and operation. Indirectly, it protects against human activity.
All right. Thank you so much,
Thank
Shruti.
you,
It
ma'am.
was lovely presentation.
Yeah, and considering the need, that's the reason Kalpana Chawla Space Academy looks forward to have courses which are specifically on space law, psychology of the astronauts.
Yes,
because this-
isolation especially, and the privacy,
Yes.
because they are like 24 hours.
Yes,
Mhm.
the body bears it all,
Yes.
which others, for the others, it's just an astronaut. But the
Yes.
person going there, actually, there is a huge psychological and other aspects which are to be seen. That's the reason we, in looking into the contemporary and upcoming future, we are imparting those sort of courses in our curriculum. And the presentation was very good. It was really actually the talking about the issue, I guess the panel would say, about the contemporary factors that you presented. Very well done.
Thank you, sir.
Best
At least
wishes.
we are training our astronauts, but now we are focusing on into the tourism. So this people there must be a proper training standards as well. The medical screening must be so much so that the ordinary people who are willing to travel as a tourist must be protected. So human right plays very important role which must be protected. Thank you. Thank you.
So, okay. The next presenter is Mrs. Nandita. And Jia Mehta, please be ready for the next presentation. Okay. Please be on. Okay.
So good afternoon to all the dignitaries present here. So my presentation is more of space education. It is related to the debris. Those are right now the topic, which is a burning topic, we can say. So can I get the second slide, please? I'm Mrs. Nandita Sujit Samaddar. I'm working as an assistant teacher in Advocate Bapusaheb Bonde High School, Lonavala. And she is my partner.
I am Meena Anil Nimche. I am also assistant teacher in Advocate Bapu Saheb Bhonde High School in Lonavala.
So today we are here to discuss the topic of space debris and its mitigation. So today we are going to cover the following topics, that are: what are space debris, causes of space debris, why space debris is a problem, and last, the tracking of space debris and its mitigation. So let's start with the first one. So this is a picture or image of space debris. So what are space debris? Space debris or junk are man-made waste objects like non-functional satellites, rocket parts, and fragments that are still revolving around the Earth. Apart from satellites, there are also broken parts. Let the first be there. Old rocket pieces, tiny fragments. Some are so small that they cannot even be tracked. Their sizes are smaller than even 1 centimeter. They are still untrackable. Because of this, the space is growing like a dumping ground. If this continues, it will become dangerous to send new satellites or spacecraft, as collisions can occur. Now we'll see why space debris is a problem. Space debris is made of broken pieces from satellites and spacecraft. These pieces are so small, but the problem is they move at a very high speed of about 17,500 miles per hour in space and can hit and damage other satellites and spacecraft. Many debris pieces are so small to track or remove, which makes them very dangerous. When debris collide with a satellite, it creates many more debris which are free to revolve in Earth's orbit, increasing the risk of further accidents. Now, this is dangerous to us because it can affect the important services like weather forecasting, communication, navigation, aviation, and scientific research that depend on satellites. Now let's see. No, let that be there. The key areas of concern. First one. So the previous one. So the key areas of concern: collision risk. The satellites or the spacecrafts can collide, or the debris can collide with the satellites, working satellites mostly, and it will affect and destroy the working satellites. Even our International Space Satellite can be damaged or destroyed. Next is Kessler syndrome. Now, what is this Kessler syndrome? It means if too many space debris are there in Earth's orbit, it can cause a space reaction. Space reaction, that is, one collision creates debris. Debris causes more collisions, means more debris in space. Okay, let's see. So please next one. Now next is, this is Iridium 33 USA satellite. It collided with a Russian non-working satellite, and both the satellites destroyed completely, which created many more debris in space. So it happened on 10th February 2009. Next. Yeah, this is the debris stat. Debris size of more than 10 centimeter, there are about 40,000 to 50,000 plus debris revolving in space. Then we have between 1 centimeter to 10 centimeter, almost 1.2 million debris revolving. Okay.
Finally, we can conclude that space debris is rapidly increasing around the Earth. Scientists predict that by the year 2050, the amount of space debris could become 4 times more than it is today. If this problem is not controlled, it can lead to frequent and dangerous collision in a space. Therefore, strong steps must be taken to reduce the creation of new debris and remove the debris that already exist in Earth's orbit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nandita and Meena. I have few questions. You haven't given insights about the nano debris, which is important part of right now
Yes.
in terms of.
The debris is less than on 1 centimeter size.
No, it's
Yeah.
not even less than 1 centimeter. It's 10 raised to power minus 9. All right. Yeah, it's that debris which cause multiple meteorological accidents, right? And what are your intakes on dealing with that debris? Because
Yeah,
you have.
part was there. We have, actually, you want my point of view?
Both
No.
of you can answer.
Okay. It's like we know that this is a problem, right? But we also know that we have to grow. So it has to be balanced. It has to be balanced means technology, we need it. But at the same time, we have to see that this debris can be removed. We have to find out technology.
Is there
Yes.
any solution for that, for removal of that debris? Can you come across like any of such sort of solution? Either it's from any part of the country, our country, or
Yeah.
any part of the
Yeah.
the world.
Yes, there is. If you see this year, especially 2026, many nations, almost 12 nations and 100 of organizations have signed this charter where they want the space debris free by 2030.
How? That's the question.
Yeah. That's all. So there are going to be, 1 minute. Yeah. So ESA, that is European Space Academy Agency, sorry, has planned for Clear Space 1, which is scheduled for launch in 2026. Okay, this will be world's first mission made specially to remove the junk physically, like by using robotic arms, all that is there in pipeline, which is going to held in this year. So many more plans are there.
Fine.
Okay, thank
That's
you so
it
much.
from my side.
Thank you.
Now, next presenter is Jia Mehta.
For both of you, a special, from my end, because you are presenting for the first time, you represent school where there is hardly a scope of any research. So these people have really done a wonderful job being on the podium with all the courage, making a beautiful PPT, and courage is always needed to be on the dais. Yes, keep doing good.
Yeah, thank you. So Jia, be ready, and subsequently Kshitij, be also ready. Next.
Hello.
Ms. Jia, be real quick because it's only 5 minutes, 4 minutes for the whole presentation and 1 minute for the conclusion. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
You can start.
So, Namaste and Jai Hind to all the respected dignitaries, distinguished guests, honorable faculty members, and all the ignited minds present here. I am Jia from Symbiosis Skills and Professional University, Pune, pursuing first year BTech in Defense and Aerospace Technology, and it gives me an immense pleasure to welcome you all and begin this presentation. So today I am going to talk on international space treaties and their impact on defense applications under the guidance of Dr. Pavanjeet Kaur ma'am. So these are the topics which I am going to cover today, starting with space as a defense domain. So, firstly, we'll look upon the evolution which took place from scientific to strategic domains. Firstly, in the Cold War era, the focus was mainly on satellites, moon landings, and scientific exploration. Then it came towards transition, which introduced through which we got introduced to dual use, which was space technology moved from purely scientific to dual use, where civilian GPS or weather data became essential for military logistics. Then, in the modern era, space is now recognized as a congested, and competitive war-fighting domain, similar to land, sea, and air. And in the economic dependency, space is no longer just for astronauts. Global banking, shipping, and agriculture now depend on orbital assets, making their protection a national security priority. Now moving forward towards importance of space assets in modern defense. Here, modern uh, network-centric warfare is impossible without space infrastructure, which includes communication, which is the nervous system. It provides secure real-time links between command centers, frontline troops. It enables beyond line of sight communication for drones, remote operations. Then comes navigation and timing, which is the pulse. It is PNT, which is positioning, navigation, and timing. Systems like GPS, GLONASS of Russia, Baidu of China are used for precision guidance, guiding munitions, synchronizes global military logistics, and encrypted communication time spans. Then is ISR, which is intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, which are the eyes, and it is constant monitoring. Satellites provide 24/7 observation of enemy troop movement, missile, and nuclear tests. And it also provides us with early warning systems. Now we'll look upon the international space law. And here, international space law is firstly, it was Outer Space Treaty, which was signed in 1967. Then it came for Liability Convention, which was signed in 1972. Then Registration Convention in 1976, and then Moon Agreement in 1979. Now we'll look upon these international space treaties in a brief depth, and it is like international space law is built on 5 UN treaties, in which only 3 have significant military applications. Firstly, we'll look on Outer Space Treaty, which was signed in 1967. It is also called as Constitution of Space. It states that it prohibits weapons of mass destruction in orbit. It mandates that space be used for peaceful purposes. It forbids military bases or maneuvers on the moon and other celestial bodies. Then comes Liability Convention. It establishes that a launching state is financially liable for damage caused by its space objects on Earth or to other satellites. Then is Registration Convention in 1976 requires states to notify the UN of their satellite launches to ensure transparency and prevent hidden military assets. Then was the Moon Agreement, which was signed in 1979, attempts to ban any military use of the moon. It was majorly for the space powers like US, Russia, China.
Time's up, Jia. Conclude.
Yes, no. In the conclusion, I would like to highlight some of the points which are treaties as a foundation. The Outer Space Treaties remain the backbone of the space security, preventing nuclear weapons and territorial claims in orbit. Insufficient for new threats, existing laws are outdated and lack enforcement against ASATs, which are anti-satellite, lasers, cyber and electronic warfare. Then is defense diplomacy tension. which is military doctrines and dual-use systems trains the peaceful use principle and raise risks. Then is sustainability, which is also security. Space debris and congestion pose greater long-term threats than weapons themselves. Then last but not the least, is need for legal evolution, which is modern space governance must include non-kinetic warfare, traffic management, and private actors. In the conclusion, uh, I would like to say that it was an immense pleasure to represent today over here, and I would like to thank everyone for listening me patiently. Thank you, and Jai Hind.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Jia. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, so slides look very interesting, though we couldn't run through all, and topic is also very good. So one thing just I want to have an understanding from you, Gia. You have presented very well. It was with lot of content and which makes really sense. But how you feel the current condition of India, or in India when we talk about the space treaties, or its an impact on defense, or how India currently is performing. What are your views once you did this research? You can summarize in 3 or 4 points, not more than that, or sentences. Yeah, how currently India is going ahead with the space exploration. What is your thought process?
So, sir, India is currently doing a great job in space and defense, both the sectors. They both are moving simultaneously. Like recently, Indian Space Research and Organization launched a satellite which was 367, and it was which was basically for the defense applications itself. And many more satellites are also launched in the past, which were made for the defense motive only. And like in the Operation Sindoor also, Indian Research and Organization played a vital role in like doing navigations of providing them navigations and all the like movements which were through the enemy side, like.
All right, Jia, I have a question for you. What do you think whenever we are sending any satellite that is related to defense, what precautions we need to take care of while sending those satellites, or say whatever we are sending to the space? From defense perspectives only, I'm asking this question.
Yes, ma'am. So, in the perspective of defense, we are taking the precautions like we are not taking the help of any other country. Like sometimes we take the help of US also. Like recently we launched NISAR satellite, which was in the collaboration with US, and sometimes we collaborate with Russia. But like defense one satellites are launched indigenously from its India itself only.
All right, thank you. That's it from my side.
I would like to ask one question. Gia, you talk about space treaties, and it's with more specific focus on defense. But today, when we do see space treaties, basically one of the major factor involved in it is the geoeconomics and geopolitics. So, have you studied anything about it?
Sorry, sir. Apologies.
No issues. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So our last presenter will be Kshitij. Kshitij. Kshitij.
Am I audible?
Yeah, Kshitij.
Okay. I'm sharing my screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes, you can start.
Okay. Good morning, respected chairperson, honorable panel members, and the distinguished participants. I'm Kshitish Jote from the Shiv Chhatrapati College, Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar. Today I will be representing my research on the militarization and the space security. This study explores how the outer space has transformed from the scientific frontier into the strategical domain, how the increasing militarization has created the urgent governance and the security challenges for the international community. In the 21st century, the outer space is no longer a scientific concept. It has become the deeply embedded in the everybody's human life. Satellite systems now support the communication, navigation through the GPS, disaster management, national security, and the socio-economical development. Modern society functions on invisible space infrastructure, making our space irreplaceable global source. If we go into the role of the space in a modern society, space technology enables the global connectivity, supports the rapid emergency responses, and enhances the safety in the civilian and strategic operations. From the aviation navigation to the financial transactions, to climate monitoring and the disaster relief. Space system operates silently, but it becomes the backbone of the modern civilization. If we go to the space congestion, debris, and regulatory challenges we are facing currently, the increase of orbital congestions, that is and then the growing space debris, and then weak regulatory framework threaten the long-term sustainability of the outer space. Without the effective global governance, outer space this become the congested, unsafe, and the strategically unsafe. The objective of studies are this study aims to analyze the outer space and as a critical strategic domain, examine the existing governance framework, elevate the India's role in space security, and propose the policy reforms to promote the sustainable and the peaceful use of the outer space. If you go to the key treaties for the militarization and the space security, there's international space activities are governed by the treaties such as the Outer Space Agreement, Outer Space Treaty of 1967, the Rescue Agreement of 1968, the Liability Convention of 1972, the Registration Convention of 1976, and the Moon Agreement of 1979. These frameworks were designed during the early space age and the Cold War era, and now face the limitations in addressing the emerging challenges such as the militarization of space, private sectors, and the anti-satellite weapons. If we go to the methodology, this is to adapt the quantitative and analytical approach. Secondary data from the international treaties such as the United Nations Office for Outer Space, academic literature, official space agency publications was analyzed to assess the involving space security challenges and the government structures. If we go to the strategic importance of the space has become the central pillar of the national power. Countries now depend on the space assets for the national security operations, economic competitiveness, and the technological leaderships. Control and the protection of the space infrastructure has therefore become the strategic priority for the major and emerging powers. As I stated, we need to reform the laws. So this is the governance gaps. Firstly, despite the strategic importance of the outer space, global governance mechanism remains the insufficient. Existing treaties are outdated, enforcement mechanisms are weak, and the binding space traffic rules are absent. And the developing nation remain the underrepresented in the decision-making processes. Next is India has an ISRO space achievement. India through the ISRO has emerged as the responsible and the capable space power. Indian satellite program supports the high resolution Earth's observation, real-time communications, navigation, disaster management, and the national security through the surveillance and the secure military communications. India demonstrates how the space capability can be developed for both peaceful nature and the strategic stability. For the conclusion, I can say that the increasing militarization of the outer space demands the urgent global attention. Stronger international cooperation, modernization of the outdated treaties, sustainable operation practices, and inclusion of the government's mechanism are essential to preserve the space as a peaceful and secure domain. A balanced approach is required to ensure that the space remains the shared resource for the benefit of all humanity. I would like to end my presentation and thank you for your kind information. Kind attention, sorry.
It was a nice presentation indeed. Ma'am?
Kshitij, you were talking about militarization and space security.
Yes, ma'am.
Kshitij, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm there. Oh, okay.
Okay. So, can you enlighten upon anything like if you talk about space security, what sort of space security you talk about? Like there are multiple type of space security that we deal with whenever we are talking about militarization of anything, right?
Okay, ma'am, I would like to highlight one incident. It's from the 1958, the USA project 8119A. That was after the Russia launched the Sputnik 1. USA has tried to overcome them by their capabilities. So they wanted to test the nuclear bomb on the moon. But due to the scientists told that it can has the radiations and other effects, so they canceled that. So after that, we needed the law for it. That's why the Outer Space Agreement of 1968 was signed by the USA, Russia, and the UK primarily. And after that, many countries joined them. So from that, in the earlier Cold War stage, we needed them. And now, after the modernization, we had the anti-satellite weapons, lasers, and all this. So we need the more laws. So the old laws are not efficient now. So
Is there any amendments are going on in the recent year?
yes, ma'am. I think in the 2026 and 2027, Indian government are trying to have the agreement. I don't recall the name, but I have okay, I can only remember this.
All right, that's all from my side. It was a lovely presentation, although.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Kshitij.
Thanks. It's over?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So now I request the session chairs to give their inputs. Are you done with your inputs, session chairs? Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Pavanjeet Kaur. Firstly, I want to thank you all, specifically Dr. Pushpendu Rakshit for inviting me here, Mr. Narayan Bhargava and Mrs. Bhonde for inviting me here. It was a lovely conference which was going on, and it is having an impactful insight on the students, on the budding scientists, I must say, not just the students. Because when we talk about science, it's not just that we are simply talking about science, but we are simply living in science. And I always say one thing: if you want to become like a scientist, then you have to behave like a scientist from the very beginning. And Kalpana Chawla Space Academy is doing wonders in carrying the potential of the students from the beginning itself, which is highly commendable. Well, talking about my session here, the space science education policy and law. So whenever we talk about space science, let us segregate it, bifurcate it first. Space science education policy and law. So whenever we are talking about it, it is always like the multidisciplinary approaches. When we talk about anything multidisciplinary, that means all the domains, they must join hand together to have a certain solution for the environment, for the space, and for the upliving of the society, right? And whenever we are talking about sustainable development, it require the multidisciplinary approaches, whether it consists of science, it consists of technology, it consists of nanotechnology, nanomaterials, the metamaterials, and management, of course, because managing those things together is the most appropriate command. And how we can emphasize this from the very beginning, it is when we are starting it from educating our children from the beginning. We are incorporating it in education, the science, the basic laws from the beginning, so that the students who are going to be upcoming scientists, they would be carry forward the legacy, the proper law, the ethics, ethical use of the laws, ethical use of science, and all. Right? So that's all from my side. Thank you so much for inviting me here. It was a lovely conference which is going on. I wish you all the very best for the upcoming tracks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. Now, I would like to call our faculty, Mr. Pramod and Mrs. Virda Joshi, to felicitate our session chairs with token of appreciation. So, Dr. Pavanjeet Kaur, please again come on the stage. Dr. Vineet Joshi and Dr. P. Rakshit, please come over the stage. Yeah, Iqbal sir as well. Now I request our director, Dr. P. Rakshit, to come over the stage and for closure of the forenoon.
Thank you, everyone, to have this wonderful morning where we could have a lot of different activities parallelly going on. We had the keynote session from Dr. PJ Blond from European Space Agency. Then followed by that, a successful roundtable of global conference. And in that, we had, again, presenters, panelists from different places. We had it really on a hybrid mode, having some of the presenters at the venue and some online. Further to it, track 4 got successfully completed with 4 of the participants. Just reminding you all, we are having overall 80 plus participants, authors rather we should say, 50 research papers. So track 1, 2, 3 yesterday was really amazing, where we had a lot of presenters having their presentation given. Today, again, we'll be having one track is over, track 4, and post lunch we'll be again commencing with track 5, track 6, with 10 plus presenters in every track. Then we'll be having the valedictory session. So stay tuned, and we all will be having the best research paper award also. Every track we are having best research paper award depending upon the number of candidates. And I really thank to Shadab ji, even Pavanjit ma'am, those who have been there with us, traveling and being here. Now I request Narayan sir and our Radhika ma'am, one felicitation is pending from yesterday. Now, please to be on the stage, and even Matsa, please be on the stage. Now, we request Dr. Mukund Madhav Tripathi, Dean, Associate Dean at Narsee Monjee University, Kharghar, and we have to felicitate Sir for his one of the wonderful achievements. He has achieved research fellowship from INTI University, Malaysia, in December 2024, and that's a big achievement, and he is associated with us for research and academic support. So he is there with us today, and yesterday for me as well as for Vineet sir, the requirement was completed. So I request the dignitaries to just be there and felicitate Mukund Madhav Tripathi sir for his research fellowship, which has been awarded by INTI University, Malaysia. Heartiest congratulations, sir. Sir has also supported in different way to us having the participants and also the panelists. So he has really been a very support to the entire conference. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Pushpendu, sir. This was a surprise for me. I was not ready for this. Thank you.
So thank you very much, dignitaries. And now with this, we close the forenoon session for now. So we will disperse for a short lunch break, and we will gather over here by 2 p.m. Okay? Yeah, disperse.